Alright, we are back here with the Clinger Plunger for our Fortnite Battle Royale drawing. Uh, and the next part that we are going to be working on will be this, uh, I don't know, whatever you would call this, um, grenade here, I suppose. So, so we're going to go ahead and come down to the plus button. Go ahead and left click on that. We want to create a new part studio in this. So part studio here. We'll just go ahead and we'll rename this one right now as the grenade or frag grenade. I don't know what you want to call that. So we'll rename that as such. Now this is basically just a sphere, and we've got some other points on this. So let's kind of come in here. We're going to sketch this on the front drawing plane. This one will be fairly easy to draw. So let's go ahead and create a circle. So I'll create this on center. And again, we did a 3-inch radius before, which gave us like a 6-inch plunger. So let's go ahead and do this just a little bit smaller. We're going to do a 5-inch diameter here. Let me back that up here, and we'll say a 5-inch diameter on this particular item. I've got to also draw a center line here. So, all right. Let's go ahead and escape that out. We can trim this. Now, you know, you could have also done the other way. You could have created an arc and kind of generated it from that point. So, in this case, we are also going to have another line. So I'm going to kind of come on and just draw another vertical line here. I'm just kind of showing you some modeling techniques here that we can use. So let's go ahead and take this from here to there. Now, I created a 1-inch handle on the plunger, so we need to keep that in mind. So this is going to be a half an inch here, because we're basically going to create the hole in the part for the plunger to fit in. So let's go back now and let's trim this out. So I'm going to trim this line and this line, and we're going to come down and trim that and that. Now, hit escape to get out of the trim tool. I do want to keep this line there, but I want this to be a construction line. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn that into a construction line instead of the actual object line. So that's going to give us the basis here for the sphere on this. Now, at the same time, so we do have this part right here. So we can go ahead and let's draw that in here as well. So, and in this case, we'll say, all right, well, we're going to extend this down. Let's say, oh, that looks, if that's a 5-inch diameter, we're going to say that this is probably going to be 2 inches here, and over another 3/4 of an inch, and then kind of come on back, and we'll close this off right there at that. Right click and escape. So that gives us the basis here for our little frag grenade. Now, so let's go back and we're going to revolve this. So we're going to select both of that, and our axis is going to be this point right here. So there you go. That gives us that basic shape that we're looking at right there. Let's click the check mark to pull that off. All right. Now at this point, so as I go, I need whatever these spike things are that are coming in here. So let's kind of come back in here to my isometric view. I'm going to say come over to my front view, and let's right click here, and let's say And let's go to the section view. All right. So this cuts us off and gives us a section view for this. So we're going to keep that in there. So let's go ahead and check mark that. And I'm going to actually sketch now on the front view. So let's bring this in. So now that I can see what these lines are, notice the shape on this. So I'm going to kind of do a few things. Let's say, all right, we're going to go to again, a corner rectangle. So let's put this in from here. And this looks like it's going out a pretty decent way. So we'll talk about the dimension. I don't know that I need that to be 4 inches. Let's go ahead and make this 3 inches. All right. And yeah, let's go ahead and make this 1 inches, 3 inches by 1. Now, notice how that moved the rectangle off of our part. So, well, in order to take care of this, so if we come back over here and say, all right, these are all of our different types of constraints. So I can say I want a coincident here between this and that. So looks like my battery's starting to get low. So let me pause this and get my computer turned in, and then I will be back with you in just a minute. All right, so we are back. So we're gonna basically kind of come in here, and we need to go back and move this over. So if you kind of just grab with the push and hold the left mouse on one of the endpoints, you can kind of move that back over. Now, we can also use the dimensional constraint. So what I'm really going to do is we'll say, all right, well, we want this dimension from the center. So let's go ahead and we'll say 1.25. So which should line us up on that axis there. And at the same token, we can also kind of come back and dimensionally constrain this to the center in this way here as well. And let's make that 2.75. Drop that down a little bit. Now, we also have a chamfered corner here. So let's kind of come back up now to our chamfer tool. So if you think about where we are at, so we got all these other tools here, our arc, so our inscribed polygon, so come back into our actual chamfer tool, split extend, so all right, so and our chamfered tool, we can sit here and use a fillet, but we don't have an actual chamfer tool. So let's just go ahead and we can draw this as a line. So and then we can geometrically constrain that. So let's go ahead and take care of that. Let's trim this and this off of there. Now with that trimmed out, so notice we're trimmed out there. Now we can kind of provide some dimensional constraints, and we can say from here we want this to be 1 inch away, and over here we want this to be 0.5. In that regard, that's kind of given us some bad constraints. So for whatever reason, when we tried to apply a dimensional constraint, that turned us red. So something is wrong with our geometry. So let's go ahead and undo that to take that out. Undo again to get that dimension off. So what is probably going on here is we've got something else that's holding that up. So let's go ahead and I'm going to click on this and delete that on mine. So there's an endpoint that was still hanging up there that might have been part of the issue. Let's go back now and dimension this. So and see if it does the same thing. And hit enter, and there you go. So yeah, so it was locking in with that dimension and didn't want us to do it. We could also change this. Say if I want a steeper angle, let me double click on this again. Let's change this to 0.375. Bring that down a little bit farther with that. So there you go. I like that. All right. Now, at this point, as we go to do this, my sketch is finished. So I'm going to come back to my isometric view. So when we come up here to the front view, so I'm going to again come up and highlight this, right click, and go to turn section view off. So we get the full view again. Now, I'm also going to extrude this feature. So we're going to extrude it. Now notice it all comes out facing us, or we could flip the arrow going back through with this blind. But if I go to, I have different types of end types, up to next, up to face, up to part, up to vertex, through all. So we're going to kind of play around with this. We're going to leave this right now. We're going to change this to a 0.5 inches with this. So 0.5 inches. And notice I can also say make this symmetric. So making it symmetric allows me to kind of change this to go in both directions. So from that center plane. For whatever reason, it's not liking this. So let's say new here and click the check mark. There we go. So that's in there. One thing we have to check. So we have to kind of come back in here. Notice the gap that is kind of clicking and taking this. So we're only right there on the center. So if we so that basically is a bad design. So it's not fully ingrained. So let's come back into this sketch. So let's edit this sketch here. Now, the easiest way for us to do this right now is let's go ahead and change this, and let's take this back into that cylinder. So let's go ahead and say we want this to be 1.125 instead of the 0.25. See how this is going to change this. All right, there you go. Now we're actually inside of the actual cylinder, and we've got full connection. Right now, with this being a design that we're kind of working on by ourselves, we can do that. Sometimes we need to consider the geometric and dimensional constraints that are on these parts if we have to make sure that we've got certain sizes there. All right, now I've got the one feature here, which is this extrude. And we need to have this basically go around. So in order to do that, I have another pattern here. So we're going to create a circular pattern. It wants to know what we want as the entities to pattern. So I'm going to kind of come here and we're going to collect that. Then it says to let us know what the axis is. Well, now in this case, we can select the hole here as the axis. Notice it's 4 on here. I could say I could change this to 6. So, and it's going to give me 6. I could say I want this to be 8. So it'll give me 8 on there over the 360 degrees. So in this case, according to what we've got, we're only going to need the 4. So let's make sure we'll be putting the 4 in there with that and click the check mark. So now we've got that part of whatever this is on our clinger there as well. So, all right. So let's save this now as an isometric, and we'll come back to do the